Nurse chick comes up to me the other day and she tells me, she says, my sister, blah, blah, blah. She's got a bunch of sisters. My sister, blah, blah, blah. Well, her husband comes home the other day and says, by the way, we're selling this property of ours. And she's like, okay, all right. And he's like, oh, and by the way, you have to sign this contract. And it's all this stuff, right? That's this biblical, like, I'm the head of the household. You will not argue with me, but when I make decisions, especially when it comes to stuff like our property, I am the ultimate decision maker. If you refuse to have the segs with me, well, then I can force the segs on you if I want, because that's my right as a husband under God's law. And I'm obviously embellishing here. I'm sure he didn't say it like this, but the weird thing was he was saying how if as soon as their daughter, who's 8 years old right now, as soon as their daughter gets her period, we have to go find her a husband right then. And so the thing is like, according to Nurse Chick's sister, it's not like she refuses the segs if he wants it. I don't think she's actively trying to make that happen, but if he wants it, she doesn't deny it, right? Not necessarily a good sign of genuine desire there, but maybe that's what they could work on. But instead, he's like, no, I'm going to demand it. And if you say no, I'm going to take it. It's my godly duty. But anyway, apparently he had been really listening to Larry Solomon's podcast pretty regularly for the last 6 months. And this is the kind of stuff that he talks about. If you go to his blog, like this is what his blog says. And we're going to break down some of this stuff, right? Like he has 8 steps to confront your wife's sexual refusal. So we're going to talk about that today. But that's what inspired this episode. I was like, man, people are going to ruin their marriages listening to these Bible thumpers, thinking they're doing God's will here, right? But it's like what you're doing here is you're forcing a woman to do what she doesn't want to do. What does that sound like? Sounds a lot like grape, doesn't it? Does it, Paul? That's not what we're saying here, okay? That's not what we're saying at all. No, that's what how it feels to her. We're going to get into that. So Larry Solomon's discipline model treats desire like a thermostat, right? You demand it, and then she needs to adjust based on your demands because you're the patriarch, the house, God put you in charge. I'm having fun. I just like doing this kind of stuff. Okay, so let's break down his 8 steps to confront. You got to confront your wife's sexual refusal. Okay, so the first thing is you rebuke her privately. You rebuke her, sir. You go up to her and you shame her. For shame. Do you not see this Bible? It says right here, thou shalt bone me, right? How dare you go against the Lord, all right? So that's what you do. You got to guilt and shame her into wanting to have sex with you more. You think that works, guys? And then the next thing, you stop taking her on dates or trips, okay? So I don't necessarily disagree with this. I think you need to be taking women on dates or trips who have earned it, right? Sure. But what he's basically talking about here is consequences for a covert contract, right? He's like, you're taking her on dates and trips expecting sex, and when she doesn't put out, well, now you're mad, and now you have this resentment, so stop doing that stuff. Well, why are you doing it to begin with? Are you doing it so that she puts out? That's a covert contract. Yeah? Okay, that's never going to work. It's only going to build resentment. No unnecessary household upgrades. Okay, until she starts putting out again, then you can have unnecessary household upgrades. Again, that's covert contracts, consequences for covert contracts type stuff. Why are you allowing household upgrades that are unnecessary anyway? You know what I mean? It's okay to tell your wife no. Yes, we've got some super chats in the house. I'll get you guys here in a minute. We got Glenn Lawrence in the house. Glenn and I chatted with Glenn a little bit about this offline because he's familiar with this guy's stuff. I was like, hey, do you know this guy? What's up with this guy? He's like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. All right, stop doing the little extra things. Okay, you guys stop doing the little extra things. Again, it's why are you doing the extra things in the first place? Why are you doing the unnecessary household upgrades? Why are you taking her on trips? Why are you doing this stuff? Because if you're doing it to get something, it's a covert contract, and that's more of the cause of your resentment than anything. Okay, because you're giving all this stuff expecting something in return that you've never really communicated with her. Okay, the way I look at this stuff is if your wife's actively earning this stuff and you enjoy doing these things. There's nothing wrong with doing these things. Do it because you enjoy doing it, though. Don't do it because you're trying to get something out of it. Remove her funding. Okay. Again, that's, covert contracts, consequences. Remove her funding, though. So a lot of, I would say, guys that probably follow this stuff, their wives are probably stay-at-home moms, right? So you're going to cut her off completely until you start putting out again. So are you paying for sex? Is that what you're doing? Is she just a prostitute at this point? And if she's not holding up her end of the bargain, well, she doesn't get paid. Okay, so none of that works. Now you rebuke her before witnesses. You take her before the church and you on her in front of the church folk, so that she could be publicly shamed and humiliated, because that will turn her on. That will turn her on right there. So rebuke her before witnesses, then bring her before the church. So I guess you do it twice, right? And then when all else has failed, well, now you divorce her for sexual immorality. So guilt, shame, and consequences. So this mindset, though, it reinforces duty sex. Which in long term increases her repulsion. I've done a whole episode on why like duty sex and maintenance sex will kill your relationship over time, because she's doing it because she thinks she has to in order to stay in your good graces and not be rebuked in front of the church, right? So she's going to put out because she has to, not because she wants to. And over time, that's going to build up more resentment in her. And she's going to hate you. She's going to hate you, bro. A whole lot of these are ultimatums trying to force compliance. You shall get in line. It's my way or the highway. Does that not turn you on? It basically says, do it or there will be consequences. Do you think that'll make her want to do it more? I'm just going to put that out there. Do you think that will make her want to go get all hot and bothered and she can't control herself and she's just got to suck that? I'm thinking no. Archwinger, he has a really good post about this. It's called Every Unhappy Wife is a Grape Victim. I've done a whole episode on this post of his. I'll drop a link to it in the chat. But he basically says she's not resisting out of spite. She's resisting because being with you just feels wrong to her. She's not attracted to you anymore, right? Somehow you're giving her the ick. And so the very thought of getting naked with you and letting you have your way with her repulses her. So she doesn't want to do it anymore. But now you're forcing her to do it under all these ultimatums and consequences and threats. Now it's like you might as well hold a gun to her head. Right? You got to understand that desire cannot be negotiated. You can't logic your wife into wanting to bang you more. You can't Bible your wife into wanting to bang you more. You can't. She's got to come to this on her own, and you have to inspire that. Okay, we'll get into that. Let me ask you, brother, though, how did it get this bad? And what makes her feel this way about you in the first place? What do you think about that? Have you thought about what makes her feel like she wants to pull away in the first place? Why do you think she doesn't want to have sex with you? Because Jesus isn't talking to her good enough. She clearly hasn't read the Bible. That's why.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.